This is Mr. Goldschmidt, and today I'm going to get you started on Soundtrap. First, we need to go to soundtrap.com. Once you log in with your school information, it'll pull up to our title page. I've got my profile here, any projects I've been working on. I can view my public profile or projects I've made public, and any groups I'm a part of, which is 5th Hour Audio Engineering and 6th Hour Audio Engineering. Let's go to our projects page. Here I can view any projects that I've been working on, and then any quick recordings that I've done using the iOS app for iPhone or iPad. Since we haven't made any projects, we're going to click Enter the Studio to get started. Once we enter the studio, there will be some templates that we can choose from to get started with. The blank template, of course, is empty. Then we've got some demo templates of trip hop, dubstep, a podcasting demo, and then if you want to record in some vocals with the one-man choir. We're going to start off with a blank template. The first thing I need to do is go up to the top and change the title of my song. I'm going to change it, and we should do this every time, to our first and last initial, and then the project that we're working on. In this case, we'll just call it Project 1. After labeling the title of our project, up at the top we've got File, where we can open a new project or open one we've recently been working on. We can save, which is important, because unlike a Google Doc or a Google Slide, Soundtrap does not save automatically. You've got to make sure you save before you close off every day. We've got some editing tools, a few different setting options, which is important if you're having trouble hearing your sound or hearing recordings. The tutorials page. On the video tutorials, if you want to work ahead, that's perfectly fine. Always be learning, always be working to get the best sound that you can. If you're having trouble, though, you can check out the tutorials, working with tracks, regions, and more. Forward and back button, there's to check if you have saved. At the bottom of your screen, we've got our master volume. So if you need to hear a little better or turn things down, be aware that we'll adjust things differently in your main tracks. We've got our time, our measures as they go by at the top. Your time down here is measured in seconds. So we've got musical measures and then seconds down here. Our record button, rewind, our play button. And here's our track tempo. A normal tempo is about 120 beats per minute. If you want the higher the number, the faster your sound is going to go by, your song is going to play. So 200 BPM, beats per minute, is a very fast tempo. 60 beats per minute, which is 1 beat per minute, 1 beat per second, is a slow tempo. I'm going to keep it on 120. Our project key is adjustable using our key button, but keep in mind, Soundtrap will automatically adjust the key of any loops and pre-made sounds that you add into Soundtrap. However, if you're playing it with a MIDI keyboard, it's not going to do that automatically. You have to play it incorrectly. Our Metronome tool is handy to make sure that we're playing in time, and we're going to keep that on almost all the every time that you're in Soundtrap. You need to keep that on. If we want to get started, let's go ahead and hit the plus to add a new track. Here we can add in any new MIDI track that we're going to play in on our own, such as a guitar and bass, voice microphones, any keyboards, drums, a guitar amp, synthesizers, strings, and finally our brass and woodwinds. We're going to start out with some pre-made sounds. So we can click down here to open up our loop library, or we can go over to the loop button over here. This opens up our loop library. Loops are pre-made sounds that are going to play automatically and sound great. I'm going to click on this first one to hit play so you can see what it sounds like. You can search up at the top. So if you want to search for bass, it'll open up all of our bass loops that are available. Or you can click to choose some filters, and let's search for drums. Here's all of the different drum tracks that are available. I'm going to find one that I like. Let's go down to, this Electro 2 is pretty cool. You can click it to play it. I like that, so I'm going to hold it and drag it up into our loop, into our first track. Once I let go, it's going to add that loop in. It titles the track the name of the loop that we just dragged in. I'm going to double click and change that to drums. You can see the loop is right here, and it plays for 8 full measures at the top. This purple bar at the top means that it's going to loop the loop back and replay it once it reaches the end of those 8 measures. And there it restarts. I want to turn that feature off so it doesn't loop back. Next, I'm going to add in a new track. Let's search this time for piano. And then you can scroll down through all the piano options that we have. Find one that I like. Let's go to this piano moon. We can click on it to listen. I like that one, so I'm going to drag it in, add a new track, and then I'm going to rename it just piano. Finally, let's add in a guitar track. So I'm going to search for guitar, and here's all the guitar tracks. I'm just going to use this one right here, this dampened E minor chord, and drag that in. Now you can see all the loops here are going to start at the beginning, but if I don't want them to start at the beginning, I can just click on the loop and drag it over. Be aware when you drag, you could accidentally put the loop in a bad musical spot. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So to help with that, we can go up to our snapping grid. I'm going to adjust the snapping grid so it allows me to move the loop one measure at a time. So it's right here, it's snapped to measure 5, measure 4, measure 3, 2 to 1. I'm going to start this loop in measure 5. Now you'll see that my guitar, my drum, and my piano aren't playing for the rest of that. We can add more loop by clicking on the little loop tool and dragging over to where the bass track ends. Let's listen in and see what we've got so far. It's sounding pretty good. For each track, there's a few different settings that we have. We can turn up the volume of each track or turn it down by clicking and adjusting our track volume. I'm going to turn the drums up a little bit. We have a record button if we're recording in some drums or a different loop. We can solo this track, which means I only want to listen to the drums. And then we can also mute the track, meaning we don't want to listen to it all. We want to listen to everything else. That's getting started with loops.